I know this video looks very different. It's currently being recorded on my phone because things have been moved to the new place and I'm currently in the old place. So basically I have this place till the 9th, so I'm just slowly moving stuff across. And there were some deliveries coming here and things, so we've got some lab equipment that came here. And we are well into our sourcing of equipment. And everything is becoming very real very quickly, and I just wanted to kind of show this side of things. I was concerned about the projected cost of being here for a year. I think I've probably underestimated that by quite a bit. Admittedly, my rental's slightly higher than I projected, but it's not much higher. So there's that. I was concerned about that, and then I kind of realized that there's a piece of equipment that I need that's almost 5 grand. It's like 4.6k or something, and I've just sent the contract back for that. That I kind of had to buy, but also didn't. This is there's so many games of chess going on in my head right now on how to do everything, because so there's this piece of equipment called a Hotaflu, which is also a laminar flow hood in English, and that's a sterile environment for doing tissue culture, right? So that's a professional way of doing it. Now, I was thinking up to this point, okay, so obviously I need one of those. I need one. But can I get away with having a still air box and using an autoclave and then just kind of starting the cultures that way? And then once we start raking in some sort of money, then we buy the Hotaflu. But I just realized / found out that draft wouldn't approve that. And without draft approval, I can't sell outside of France. So draft are the ones that allow me to provide plant passports. And if they don't like your setup, basically, if it doesn't please them, if it's not sanitary enough, etc., 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 then they will not allow you to provide plant passports, which is a big deal because it closes off a lot of your market. Well, literally the rest of the world. You can sell to France as long as the plants aren't endangered or anything, but you can't sell anywhere else. Whereas with a plant passport, you can sell everywhere and any plant. So all the CITES stuff, everything, you can sell it within Europe, which is all the protected plants basically are on the CITES list. So draft's a big deal. So I was trying to weigh up, okay, so do I be money conscious and risk conscious and not spend the 4.6k right now, and I make some money off the other things that I want to do and potentially selling within France and only France for the plants, but that would mean the only other thing that I can do is sell the culture media, which is the other side thing that I want to do. And I won't be able to sell plants that are in vitro or ex vitro outside of France, but I'll be able to sell them to France. And I'm just not sure how big that market is, and I don't want it to come down to the whole, you didn't manage to make SMIC because you were too risk averse, you know? So there's this whole chess game on everything that's like, okay, I've still got a bunch of stuff that I need to buy. I've had a sourcing issue with three of the culture media ingredients with Sigma Aldrich. So luckily one of my other suppliers can source it from Sigma Aldrich and get it to me, but that might be another month, I don't know. This freaking Hotaflu will take a month anyway, so at least I can start doing things in a still air box in the meantime, but I can only do that if I manage to get the ingredients for the culture before the Hotaflu comes. So this might be another month of like doing not much, just trying to source plants to sell, I guess. I don't know. I've got a potential lead on some tissue culture for Nepenthes, but I've messaged them and I need to find out if they can give a plant passport. If they can, then at least we can get one species of Nepenthes into TC without us having to do anything, which is a plus. Means we can allow it to sit there multiplying, but we can't then multiply it even more because we don't have the freaking autoclave yet, which again is going to come within the next like 3 weeks or something. Pain. And then there's the whole other issue of, how do I flip this camera? Can I not flip the camera? And there's the whole other issue of trying to figure out the best TC to sell freaking flow, sales flow. So obviously we need to put stuff into TC, yeah, and then we want to sell some stuff that's in TC. We also want to sell TC media, so without plants or anything in, and then we want to also acclimate the plants once they come out of TC. So once TC is full, we can acclimate a load. So we want to fill the acclimatization, and then we want to move it to the grow stage. But in the acclimatization stage, we want to try and source customers for the plants. So when they're acclimatized, hopefully we can just pull them out of there and send them, which means the grow tent's not as full. But these two rooms here are two different sizes because they've got, this one has 2 doors that open, sorry. So it's got to be a smaller tent because obviously you can't stop the doors from opening. So the tent's going to be a lot smaller. This is the biggest room for the grow room, but then there's a tent that's big, but it doesn't fill the room size. So there's even more space which is not being taken up. And we've already got 3 grow lights that are a certain size, and currently that is the bedroom, which I'm thinking is probably going to turn into TC. So it's going to be TC sanitary room and then TC racks. So there'll be racks in the sanitary room, but there'll also be racks in here. So we can do as much TC as possible, because obviously there's going to be a lot more in TC than in the other 2. And we want a flow out of, so once the acclimatization chamber is full and things start acclimatizing, we want TC to start being like half full, yeah? And then once, because things acclimatize at different rates, then we want to pull out things that are acclimatized from there to there, or sell them directly. And then there's, once everything in there is acclimatized, it needs to go into there or be sold, at which point we want TC to be ready to go into there, which at this point this might still be full because we might not have sales. So then we need to discount everything in here to make space for the stuff that's in here, and we need to keep that flowing, otherwise we're going to have a real problem with backlog and we're going to have no space, and then we're going to have to start killing plants basically, or selling them extremely cheaply, which is probably what would happen. We would bulk sell really cheaply, and that's where the plant passport comes in, because without plant passports you can't actually sell bulk to companies. So again, that's why we need that frickin' Hotterflu, which is 4.6 grand. And then we've looked at the tax regime as well, and luckily we're on a good tax regime for hitting SMIC. We were in our business plan on the micro BA plan for tax, which would have meant we had to make 160,000 euro or something, which is freaking insane. Basically, they take 87% of anything that you make and call that cost. So you don't make that goes to cost. So thank God we're not on that. We're on the real one, which means I've just got to basically do what I'm doing and just account for everything. Oh God. So this is all getting real fast, and the money is going down at lightning pace. But it was always going to do that when we're sourcing things, right? We've still got tents that we need to frickin' buy for the acclimation. We've got all the stuff for inside the tents, but we still need to buy the tents. And maybe we can get some money back on the 4th grow light that we purchased, because number one, it hasn't been shipped, and number two, if you look at here, this was the original plan. It was going to be TC and then grow and acclimatization and grow and acclimatization. And the whole point of that was these would be highland conditions, these would be lowland conditions. So much cooler over here, much warmer over here. But then you'd be splitting both rooms. So, I don't know if I'm using the shadow or my finger here. So we'd be splitting both rooms, and then we'd have less space, which is not optimized at all, right? So then we moved over to here, and I was thinking, okay, so we put, when things are in acclimation, or acclimatization, there's going to be a lot less room taken up, so you can have more plants in there, which then means you're not filling the grow space, right? So you're going from TC, which is a bigger room, so you have more room there, and you also have that one, the bedroom, which could potentially be a TC room, so you could expand the TC quite large. And then you've got the acclimatization, which would be much smaller than the grow room. So then when they come out of acclimatization, if you've struggled to get people to buy, then they go into the grow room and don't fill that grow room. So then you can start selling from the grow room, and hopefully you'll like half, however much was put into the grow room, but then the things in the grow room will still be growing bigger, because that's how plants work, you know? So yeah, I just kind of didn't like that idea. And that's when we kind of moved to this idea, where it's okay, maybe we don't do lowland conditions, because we want to aim mostly for domestic markets, right? So here we can do, here we can do our acclimatization. Now that room's still smaller than that room, so I'm not sure if they will be the same size tents or not. This one may actually be smaller just by default, but not by much. And then the grow room's bigger. And it doesn't kind of bottleneck everything, right? It should be, as long as I can get my freaking sales channels done well, it should be a nice process of, okay, tissue culture, racks, climatization, grow, obviously sell. And it should just do that all the time. But then we'll also have leaks from here, because certain things will acclimatize quicker, so they'll go straight out. So things like Nepenthes, they can be sold from here at a certain point, about halfway through acclimation, whereas something like a Musa needs to be acclimatized a little bit further. But the weird thing is, Nepenthes take longer to acclimatize than Musas do. But Nepenthes growers are going to have higher humidity than people who buy Musas, who just shove them in their house. So all of this is in my freaking head. So my brain right now. Oh, my brain, my hair, my brain. Struggle. And I'm looking at the bank account and I'm like, okay, so for the rental house, the way that we kind of solidified that was the bank put a bunch of money into another account, which is a year's rent, which I can't touch. So there's just an account there that I can't touch with a year's worth of rent in. So it's like 10,850 euros or something ridiculous like that. So that, boom, gone, right? So that money's gone. Pain, man. This is seriously risking everything. It's risking everything. I do have more money in the UK. I have some more money in the UK, not a lot. Like, I'm really putting a lot of faith in myself to be able to do this. Like, the reality sets in like really, really quickly. I mean, France to now, it's been, minorly stressful, not really stressful. You've seen a lot of, happy videos like, okay, now I'm looking for this and I'm struggling with this and da 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 da. But now's the reality of money and I don't have an income. So this is how I make the money and I'm having to spend a ton of money to make the money. And then pray to the Lord that I can make SMIC in profit by the end of the year so that I can, well, not even by the end of the year, because I have to apply before the end of the year, like I said. So I can pray to the Lord that I make SMIC before the time where I try to renew my damn visa. And I am just over a month in. It's now 19 minutes past 12, so we're on 3rd of November. This video probably started on the 2nd of November. So I had to go for a walk. That's why I'm awake right now. Normally I'm trying to sleep, but I had to go for a walk to try and clear my head, and I decided it's probably good to make a video about this because it's the other side of things, right? You see all the happy French things and me walking through vineyards, and now this is the other side where it's like, okay, now we've got to source everything. We need to abide by every single rule in the book and make everybody happy so that we can get all of the regulatory stuff out of the way and we can open up our market to the entire world, basically. We only want the whole of the EU, but because it's the same restrictions, it opens up the entire world. So that's where we're at. That is where we're at. And I'm currently building the website, which has been its own freaking stressful thing. My goodness, building a website is ridiculously difficult if you're doing it, not through like Wix or something like that. We're doing it through a hosted server and having to deal with WordPress, which is not a simple freaking tool to use at all. Everything doesn't make any sense, but we're getting there. We are getting there. We've got a decent site right now. We'll hunt, like tomorrow, if we had a bunch of products, I 100% could list them and sell them. So the only things I think left to deal with are obviously putting the real products up and the shipping and making sure that the payments all work. And that's it. I think at the moment the site's on a proxy payment where it's not real and I can test it that way. So we're moving, we are moving, but I'm freaking scared at this point, like really freaking scared. It is, money's going down real quick, really, really freaking quick, and I don't know when we're going to be able to sell stuff. Because I've still got all these issues with IMPI that won't let me change the freaking business stuff to the new address. So I don't know what to do about that. Oh, I'm going to have to call them tomorrow, obviously. I'm going to call them tomorrow again, see if there's an English person or someone that speaks English. But yeah, pain. The fiber, so the electricity's on in the new house, the water's on in the new house. Don't know if I said that in the video or not. This may be part of that video, I doubt it, it's really rambly. And now we're waiting for fiber, which should be turned on the 5th. Like I said, it's now the 3rd, yeah. So we got the fiber box through the post, I collected that. And obviously I spent a day in the house, that was quite nice. The shops close to the house are freaking amazing, way better than here. Absolutely way better than here. The Aldi is way better than here. There's a Lidl opposite the Aldi. There's an Auchan the other way that's massive. I went to that Auchan as well. I got some prawns that were on offer. Like, there's also a huge plant store by that freaking Auchan, which is... oh... yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've never done the whole, trying to get people to buy stuff before. Like, actually, like, my life depends on them buying stuff. It's going to be a freaking interesting one. And it's going to be interesting to see what sort of contracts we can get with businesses as well. But obviously, we need the draft to approve us first, which might be its own challenge. Because the draft can be extremely strict. So, in some cases, they won't even look at your premises. In other cases, they are extremely strict. So So it seems like a potluck. That's what I've read anyway. It might not be true. It might be they're just strict with everyone. Would make sense, but hopefully not. I don't know. But yeah, that's where we're at. Gonna struggle to sleep, I think. But it could be another month of not much, really, apart from sourcing plants. I will say, potential Chinese supplier on the old tissue culture plants. So we're talking to them. They've used supposedly third party. I've checked their company. It's all registered. I've asked them for the registration documents with their plant authorities and with customs, because apparently they've got export licenses. I'm literally watching a mosquito fly around. Yeah, so they're going to send me a bunch of documents, hopefully, and we're going to do a trial run of tissue culture plants from them. And if we can do that, then we should have a saucer of tissue culture. I also forgot to mention our bulk plant seller no longer has the plants that I wanted from them. So that's great. And I think I did mention there's another tissue culture. Yeah, I did. There's another tissue culture place that I emailed to try and see if they can provide plant passports. Because if they can, I'll buy the cultures. I will buy the first cultures now. And if they do okay for the next 2 weeks, then I will buy them out, basically. It's Nepenthes Jamban that I'm looking at from them. So gives you an idea. Highland Nepenthes. This is kind of the aim. So Highland Nepenthes, because we can acclimatize them with things like Musa floridas and, you know, alocasias and all of that, all the house plants, because obviously you want houseplant conditions, and you can acclimatize Nepenthes Highlands to the same sort of conditions. So that's great. Yeah, no, that's this video. God, what a rant. But you deserve to see this side of things, and I deserve to look back at this side of things when I'm either successful or unsuccessful at the end of the year. Who knows? But yeah, the worry is real right now. Very, very real.